I love that. I see the jumping dog in the background before as well. Listen, not just the junkyard dogs. If you came from Santa Barbara, please stand up for 1 second, please. Look at these people that came from Santa Barbara to support us. Unbelievable, man. I love how we support each other. You know, Scott, your guy Scott here spoke last night in Santa Barbara, and he was great, and we all went out there to support him. Just seeing the chip takers and the birthdays, happy birthday, it just fills my heart. Because I thought this is going to be the lamest thing in the world, right? I didn't know it was going to be camaraderie, fellowship, friends, and all this other good stuff, you know. And so I know that we do also have the junkyard dogs. Woof. And then we have some guys from the rescue mission as well. Put your hand up if you put your hand up if you're from the rescue mission. You see these? You see that? Ladies, did you see that? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red flags right over there. Look at her, she don't care. She's like, let me at them. Let me at them. It's not a carnival, lady. It was a circus. The mission boys are like, if you didn't want me when I was homeless, why would I want you now I'm in the rescue mission? Have you ever partied so hard that you end up being in a room full of people, typically in a circle, talking about drinking for the rest of your life? I partied pretty hard. Is there any other party animals in here? I thought it was going to be weird. I didn't want to come to AA, maybe just like most of you didn't want to come to AA, because being sober sucks. Being sober without a program sucks really bad. And I didn't want to come to AA because I'd seen it on the telly. That's the TV, for God's sake. Have you seen it on the TV? They depict it so depressingly bad. It's the last place you ever want to go. They make it look like One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest or some shit. Somebody's drooling on themselves. Someone's, all talking to you. Why would you ever want to go to that? It makes no sense. I mean, there are some bad meetings as well, of course. And even in Santa Barbara, we have some poor meetings. Have you ever been to our Alano Club at noon? It looks like the bar scene out of the original Star Wars movie. You know what I mean? There's a woman with 3 boobs over here. The guy reading chapter 5 is missing his head. There's a pregnant man. It's crazy, man. I did not want to come here. And I'm not coming here either because I'm not alcoholic. I'll admit something weird is happening, but I'm not alcoholic because I don't look like an alcoholic. Don't you have a typical picture of what an alcoholic looks like? There's no one really in here. I'm always picturing the bum on the end of the off-ramp with an horrible bushy beard begging for change. Not a cool bushy beard like Diego's there. A horrible bushy beard. The loser figure, that's an alcoholic. So nobody in here could be. You're either too young or you're too beautiful. You're too well put together. Well, some of you over there look like you've had a good drink. But you can't be alcoholic. So it was the last house on the block for me, and it seems to work a bit better when it's like that. I remember it well. I was cornered by King Alcohol. I'd already made it over from Manchester. By the way, alcohol didn't do this to me. I'm from Manchester, England. I'm not having a stroke or anything. I'd already made it to the mean streets of Santa Barbara. And it was midnight, and I'm maudlin drunk yet again, wanting to kill myself. And that's the only reason I reached out to AA. Quicksand stretched out all around me. I'd met my match. And so I found the yellow pages and made the call to AA. I know you young'uns will have to Google that shit, won't you? What's the yellow pages? But I called, and this lovely older lady answers the phone, and I'll be forever in her debt. She was so good at her task, She knew what to say. She'd insert little nuggets here. I got straight down to business because I know we're going to have to talk about me bloody drinking. I said, yes, I might drink too much, lady, but so would you if what's happened to me had happened to you. And I'm going to kill myself anyway. And she talked me down off the ledge, talk about some good stuff. And finally she's like, well, hey, Darren, have you never been to a meeting? And I'm like, no. She said, oh, well, there's a meeting tomorrow night down the street from you, 8 o'clock. She made it sound so special. I didn't know there was 200 meetings a week in Santa Barbara. I passed out. I came to the next morning. Halfway through the morning, I thought, oh, God damn. I said I'd go to that A&A thing later on. But there was nothing else for me to do. I can't say I didn't have a little drink. Oh, I had to have a little cheeky drink. I am physically dependent on vodka at this stage of my alcoholism, right? So I'm having a little cheeky drink. The day drags on. And then I showered in the afternoon. It was the first time I'd showered in months. I gelled my hair all super sexy. And I went wandering down to this A&A meeting. And I got there and it was a huge men's stag. If I'd have known that, I wouldn't have bloody showered, you know what I mean? 80 men outside this meeting hall. They're all smoking fags and drinking coffee and having a good time. And I was amazed because it was nothing like I'd seen on the telly. It didn't seem depressing. It was like this meeting. There was a vibe about it. Everybody was happy to see each other. Somebody got engaged and they're all so happy. And, there's a vast amount of fun about it all. And obviously I'm not interacting with it. I don't want to catch anything off these happy folks. I'm an observer. And then what happened next really caught my attention. Just underneath, the deadly earnestness kicked in. And everybody went inside, and there was 2 huge circles. And the secretary sat down, shuffled his papers, meant business. Everybody caught the cue. Everybody sat down, shut up, got off their phones, if you can believe that. And the meeting starts going, and I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. And as I'm looking around, I thought, this is a good time to open my jacket pocket. I pull out a huge bottle of vodka and start drinking in the meeting. And the guy next to me is like, holy shit. Is this guy drinking vodka in the meeting? And I'm looking around going, why is nobody else drinking? Isn't this Alcoholics Anonymous? Don't you have a drinking problem? I have a really bad drinking problem. I stayed drunk in the rooms of Santa Barbara AA for a year. Openly drinking first 3 or 4 months. Then I realized what you cheeky monkeys were doing. You're putting your vodka into a water bottle and bringing it to the meeting. You could have told me. I stayed drinking for a year. I got quite a reputation. Jails, institutions, and death. But nobody turned me away. I only got kicked out of 2 meetings that whole year, which is pretty good, really. Kept falling off my chair one time. I wasn't mouthy. I wasn't rude. But that's what it had to be like for me. Now, it wasn't always like that. I started drinking in the UK at a fairly normal age, youngish, 13. I drank from 13 to 33. I drank for 20 years straight, and I love numbers, and I like it was a nice round number. Now, 13, I thought Scott's going to fall off his chair there. 13, that's outrageously young. No, not for Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Not for you lot. And what I realized is you can't outdo anybody either. Someone over there's, I was drinking when I was 8. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. What I realized is you can't outdo anybody in Alcoholics Anonymous. This one-woman speaker, she gives a great talk. Her name's Teresa. But her whole pitch surrounds the fact that she was drunk in her addicted mother's womb. In the womb, for God's sake. Okay, Teresa, you win. You win. I think she was born blowing a .32, smoking a pack of Marlboro Reds, get her out of here. But 13 to 33, and I had a good time for most of that time. I was a bit of a party animal, like some of you. I was having a good time. Some of the old uns don't like the fact that you talk about that was a good time. You mustn't talk. Why not? It's like, don't worry, mate. I am going to ruin my life and then want to kill myself. We're going to get there, but I had a good time until my mid to later 20s. That's when alcoholism starts to creep into me bones. And alcoholism, it's not like you wake up one day needing to drink neat vodka in the mornings with your big bushy beard. Alcoholism is subtle and progressive. And it first comes in the form, for many of us, massive amounts of anxiety. Isn't that the worst feeling in the world? And it comes in the form of massive amounts of depression. And it comes in the form of this spiritual illness that's eating me alive from the inside out, where my soul's becoming ever blacker, and soon it will be just ash. And I don't know what's going on. And I used to be confident and outgoing. Now I'm jittery and I feel weird all the time. It's the best description of alcoholism I can give you. It was feeling weird. And I don't know what's going on, and I can't tell anybody. In fact, I get a second full-time job at this stage in my alcoholism. My second job is to run around Manchester making sure you think I'm okay. Because if I can convince you I'm okay, maybe I'll be okay. And only another alcoholic will understand that. I couldn't tell my brother, I was in business with my brother, and he knew something was going on, but I can't tell him, hey, I'm driven by 100 forms of fear, I'm resentful at everything, my life's slipping away, I lost that girl and that's killing me. I can't tell him anything. Now he thinks I'm suffering from something. He thinks I've got lazy bastarditis. You know what I mean? Because I can't do my job. I can't do my job. The banker, over the years, the bankers watched with amused skepticism. I'm whirled some fat checks in and out of his account. But I'm driving a nice sports car. I've got Miss Manchester on my arm. I had arrived. But the worse my alcoholism got, I can't get out of my nice car to go to this high-powered business meeting I'd set up the day before, because I'm paralyzed with fear. Do you remember going to a work sometimes with a hangover so bad that normal people would dial 911? I remember I can't go into the bank to present some checks because I'm worried the sunlight is going to shatter me into a million pieces. And heaven forbid if I'm in the queue in the bank and somebody looks around at me and just says, "What's wrong with you?" I'd be like, "Fuck, I don't know. Do you know? Because I don't know." And I'd have to leave. Just tell me what's wrong with me. But I've got to put up with the facade because I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind, but I can't tell anybody. I got away with so much bullshit because I was the boss. Things got so bad, we had one of our monthly boardroom meetings. I hated these things. 4 directors, including me and my brother. I'm not paying attention, as usual. And then I heard my brother say, "Yeah, Darren, so we had a meeting before this meeting and we've decided to let you go." And I'm like, wait, what? And he's a brilliant businessman. I knew he'd have it all sewn up. What do you mean? I didn't know you could do that. I own the business. But he's a clever man. He said, yeah, there's something going on with you. We're not quite sure. And like any good alcoholic, I went from all my fears had played out. I had a sense of impending doom that whole time. I knew something was up. And I go from fear to anger in a nanosecond. And I go for him, I push the chair out the way and I go to give him a, fucking headbutt. I believe in clear communication, you know what I mean? Just one of them awful classic alcoholic scenes. The mask has slipped. Darren's been found out. Worst day of my life. I have to leave the car there. It was the worst time to exit the business, financially speaking, of course. And I have to walk home. It was a horrible, grey, wet, miserable Manchester afternoon. Worst day of my life. But here's some good alcoholic thinking. All I care about is what people think about me. All I care about is changing the narrative. And I start scheming. Wait, who was in the room? My brother was in the room. He's a wanker. 2 of my old college, university friends were there. I'll sort them out. That'll be all right. I'll sort them out. Many people don't really know. So I'm thinking, I've got to change the narrative because you can't be talking poorly about me, right? About us. And so it's the worst day of my life. I go home, I get changed and shower because I'm going out that night anyway because it's the weekend. It was a Thursday. Was anyone else's weekend longer than their week? So I go down to the bar, I get there before any of my mates show up, and I have a couple of stiff drinks, and this is what alcohol does to us. Woof! the old-faced determination to win comes right back. I've gone from a trembling, despairing, nervous wreck to a man brimming over with self-reliance, just like that. And then here comes my mate Simon, and here comes Dave. I said, did you hear about that bullshit today? My brother's a wanker. I told them where to go. I don't need that business. I can do anything I put my mind to, and they bought it. That's all I could. Yeah, Darren, that's don't you worry about it. You can. The facade was on again. I'm so full of shit, man. And they bought it, and that was cool. I only had another couple of stiff drinks, and then 15 of the boys are now in the pub, and I've got an audience, and I love that, and I'm on my soapbox. And I told them all, yeah, screw him, I hate my brother, blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what I'm going to do, boys? In fact, when I get my check, when I was a student, I used to love traveling. I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go traveling again. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to America, and I'm going to become president of America or some shit. Well, apparently anyone can become president over here, you know what I mean? I said that for Biden as well, by the way, before you come and talk to me after the meeting. I think the problem is the shitty UK weather. That's the problem. I think the problem is my brother. He's a wanker. I think the problem is my girlfriend. She keeps leaving me for stupid little things like my cheating on her and stuff. But no, somebody puts the problem on a flight at Manchester International Airport and flies me all the way to LAX. And here I am. I came to America for a 2-week holiday 26 years ago. I never made it back to England. I didn't know I was going to circle the drain of life. I didn't know I was going to almost die of untreated alcoholism. I'm coming here just to take the edge off, man. And when I'm on holiday, I like to have a drink. An uncle of mine who I'd never met before, had been living in Santa Barbara for 20 years, comes and picks me up, drives us up the 101. This man owns a pub in downtown Santa Barbara. See, there is a God. He rolls a big spliff just before he gets there, picks me up and goes, Darren, welcome to America. And I'm like, thank you very much, compadre. And we drive up to Santa Barbara. Now, when I'm on holiday, I like to have a drink, you know what I mean? So I'm drunk for a couple of weeks, and I find out in that time that the visa waiver I signed on the plane allows you to stay for 90 days. So I just stay for 90. I've become this daily drinker for 90 days. And, you know, staying drunk isn't a problem for us alcoholics. Staying drunk or high isn't a problem. It's a problem for other people sometimes. You know, bosses don't seem to like it. Spouses don't like it. Sometimes the police don't like it. But it's not a problem for us. The real problem for any real alcoholic is facing life sober. That's the real problem. So after 90 days, and then I'm outstayed my visa because a friend from England, Manchester, flies over, and I buy us an SUV, and me and him travel around the whole of America for 5 months. 5 months around the map of America. God, this country is so big. 32 states, 12,000 miles. I am drunk off my little English ass in every little town, city, and state. By the time we get back to Santa Barbara 5 months later, I have 7 outstanding warrants in 5 different states. That means we had a good time. My friend who's normal, he flies back to England, and I'm stuck. I'm here illegally. I have no income. I've spent all my money. My uncle says, I've got an idea. Why don't you become a bartender in my pub? He has no idea what he's letting himself in for. No idea. And it was like the worst job in the world and the best job in the world all rolled into one. But oh my God, my alcoholism's progressed. Trying to just turn up there sober was so difficult, I just couldn't do it. The anxiety is through the roof, and you're supposed to have these weird things called interacting with humans, you know what I mean? And I can't stand it in case they look in my eyes too much. And so I bartended for almost 2 years straight, hanging on by a thread. Do you remember that stage of your drinking where I'm hanging on by a thread? The book says we stood at the turning point. I lived at the turning point for almost 2 years. Always trying to get my shifts covered because I couldn't turn up to work. Always doing too many white goods. This is Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm going to talk about alcoholism. But I did try cocaine once for 20 years. I love that shit. I love anything that will allow me to drink you under the table. And, so that whole downtown scene was awful. I had to drink on my days off because I'm a nightmare without it. I'm drunk at work. I'm the drunkest person in the bar, and I'm the bartender. How I never lost him his pub, I'll never know, I swear to God. Sometimes the locals would put me on a stool in the corner because I'm so drunk, and I'm looking out of one eye as I watch the locals serving each other, giving each other money and shit. One's behind the bar, and I'm like, this ain't right, man. This ain't right. And then so finally, I would wake up and I'm already in trouble. Like I just fucking woke up. I don't know what I'm in trouble for, but I'm definitely in trouble. And I had a sense of impending doom that whole time. And now I know why we have a sense of impending doom. It's because something bad is going to happen the way we're living our lives. I get up this one morning and there's 6 missed calls on my phone. Oh, I knew it was coming. I answered the 7th one. Get down here now. Ooh, God, it was him. Oh, what a nightmare. It was 10 times. I had a job you're actually allowed to have a little cheeky drink at, and I even screwed that up. And it was 10 times worse than losing my entrepreneurial position in England. Because the gig was up. It was over. And I go trudging down to the bar, man. I'm crying. I said to him, and I would have passed a lie detector test. I said, please don't fire me. I'll never drink ever again in this pub. I promise you, Darren, you'll never work in here ever again. You could have got me divorced many times, let alone lost me this bar. Oh, I went out that day and I tied one on. The drunk to end all fucking drunks. I got up the next morning, had a few more. I was so rough. Late morning, I went back down to the bar to see who took my shift. And after a couple of drinks, I threw the 3rd one over him in front of everybody. How to ostracize yourself from the whole of the downtown bar scene in a nanosecond. Only we can pull shit like that off, I swear to God. Darren, you get out of here right now and never want to see your face ever again. I just then go on a death march. It literally took me just a few weeks to get barred from O'Malley's, Old Kings Road, the James Joyce. The Sportsman's very hard to get barred from. And we did that as well. Just an absolute nightmare. Like, I'm not a cute little drunk, you know what I mean? I'm not a functioning alcoholic. I'm a vodka drinking maniac. And I haven't seen anybody for months. And a typical day for me now is I would come to, and it would be pitch black outside, and I have no idea whether it's night or day. And I'd figure it out. Oh my God, it's 5 a.m., that darkest hour before the dawn. Now, I have strong, horrible, warm vodka under my bed at this stage of drinking because I'm going to need it at first daylight. But I so desperately don't want to drink because I know what that means. I desperately don't want to drink, but I can only manage 10 minutes of the mental and hellish torture. I've drunk so much hard alcohol, I've ruined my wiring. I've done so many drugs, I've cracked my mind. And only you will understand that. And now in this tall bottle of vodka in my bed, I've always got 4 fingers left in the bottom of it because it's like a science project. That is exactly what I'll need, not to become funny in the pub anymore, not to be, just to take the suicide thoughts away from me. Just about that will do it. And so it's not even 6 a.m., 10 minutes of drink, don't drink. Remember doing that? Oh my God, I would drink. And I'd finish that bottle of vodka, just about get enough relief. But now here's the problem. I've just fed the beast, and now the beast needs feeding. And I would put on my smelly, baggy clothing to go 1 block to Foodland liquor store on the west side of town and steal my 2 big bottles of vodka. And I would go clinking off home. Now, when you get home, what you want to pound the vodka to pass out because we want oblivion, but no. I can't do that. It's like a science project. It is immensely important that first bottle gets nursed into the later afternoon, because the second bottle has to get me into the evening, because I can never sleep. We could never sleep, and I'm trying to get to 9, 10, maybe even 11 o'clock at night, saving enough to pass out for once and catch a good enough sleep to wake up and not have to drink like that ever again. And it says the mind and body are marvelous mechanisms. I drank like that for 2 more years. 2 more years of jails, institutions, and death. You know, jail, stupid little shit. Institutions, if I'm not in hospital, I'm drunk at home. If I'm not there, I'm in the drunk tank. If I'm not there, I'm in a detox. And if I'm not there, I'm now in the lockdown psychiatric unit regularly. That had become normal for me because I'm losing my mind. Death is next, so death is welcomed. You can't scare us with death at this stage of drinking. It's like, bring it on, man. But alcoholism doesn't have the dignity to take us quickly. I've seen it mess with some people for years, sometimes decades. My fear is not dying an alcoholic death. My fear is living an alcoholic life, one miserable day at a time. And here's how I got sober. I came to one morning and there was no vodka under my bed. That had never happened to me before. And I took it as a sign, this is the day I'm going to kill myself. No big drama. I tried to kill myself 3 months before. 3 months before, my roommates are downtown partying, having excluded me again, of course, because I'm a nightmare. And I remembered one of them has an arsenal of weapons in his bedroom. He was a maniac. So I jimmied the bedroom door, broke in. There's an AK in there. There's a shotgun, several loaded handguns. Now, I'm English. I don't quite know what I'm doing with a gun. But I find a loaded revolver and go stumbling into the living room. And I sit down on the couch. I put the gun in my mouth. It's cold. It's heavy on my teeth. I'm trying to figure it out. Wait, do you blow the back of your head off or do you shoot up through the roof of your mouth? And as I'm thinking it through, the thought came to me, hey, Darren, it's midnight. If you pull the trigger right now, you'll definitely wake some of the neighbors up. You know what I mean? I'm too polite for that shit. But today's the day I'm going to do it. And I stay in my bedroom for a couple of hours till about 10 a.m. And I decide to throw myself off Santa Barbara's biggest bridge, Cold Springs Bridge. Popular suicide spot, right? It's got suicide rails on it now. Didn't have back then. And so I go outside and my car is there, thank God. Did you ever see that movie, Dude, Where's My Car? I was always losing my car. So the car is there, I jump in it. I drive 25 minutes up the 154. I park the car. I walk to the center of the bridge and I pause because I know it's going to kill my mum. And in that pause, grace came in the form of a man who had told me the truth in Alcoholics Anonymous. He was sick of my shit. Sometimes I would share a little bit inappropriately. Sometimes I would say, oh, I'm going to kill myself. AA doesn't work. He's over here. He says, hey, Darren, what are you talking about? You can't say, you might well kill yourself. You won't be the first and you won't be the last. But you can't say AA doesn't work. And I got mad because he's telling me the truth. I said, I've been coming here for a year, old man. He said, oh, well, first of all, Darren, you should come sober. It works better. Okay. He said, a drunk like you need to get a sponsor. You need to work the 12 steps of spiritual way. And all this is going through my mind on the bridge. And I knew it. I had 2 big secrets, just like some of you will have here tonight. 2 big secrets. One was I didn't have a sponsor. And if I did, it was in name only, which is the same bullshit. And the other is I wasn't working any steps, and you lot were always talking about the steps. And so something came across me where I sincerely took this position, and I said to myself, okay, I'm not going to kill my mum. I'm going to go back to that Santa Barbara AA. I'm going to do those stupid 12 steps. And when they don't work, I'm going to go and find that man, and I'm going to take him off the bridge with me. You know what I mean? And so at this stage in my alcoholism, I can't just come skipping into the rooms. I need to be once again medically detoxed. So I jump in my car, 154, all the way down to Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital, emergency room, and I park in my usual spot. That was the 4th time I'd been there that year, and it was only April. As I pulled in, I sideswiped the car next to me. I've just driven down a goddamn mountain road, and I crash in the car park of the emergency room. Massive amount of damage, big noise. I get out of the car, shit, put the security there, police are already there around the corner, they come over. I get out of the car and go, yep, that was my fault, you know. I said, that's my car, I've got my ID. One cop goes behind me, and the other one comes up to me, he's about to say something, but I think he smells me, and he goes, whoa, have you been drinking? And I'm like, that's a weird first question. I said, no, why have you? They do not like that approach. He said, you reek of alcohol. I said, I don't know what to tell you. I need to go into the hospital. He says, no, you're doing some field sobriety tests. I said, oh my God, okay. I do 25 minutes of field sobriety tests. Perfect. He's so pissed, man. He looks at his colleague. His colleague goes like this. He says, oh, you're doing 15. I do 15 more minutes. Perfect. And then he gets his little breathalyzer out, and I blow into his little machine, and I blow 0.32. It's 11 a.m. I haven't even had a drink yet. I am waking up at a 0.32, and then I'm drinking my 2 big bottles of vodka. These 2 cops literally cannot believe it. They don't understand what's going on. You know, I'm kind of sober as a judge, probably not in their eyes, but I am sober as a judge, and I'm like, and they're jibber-jabbering with each other, and I'm like, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Like, I don't know what's going on. Then he starts walking towards me with the handcuffs out, and I start to panic because you do not want to detox in jail. I said, what are you doing? He's all, turn around, you're going to jail. And I start to lose my shit. I said, if you take me to jail right now, I will kill somebody. I said, I'm small, mate, but I'm fucking dangerous, dude. And then I start to open up, and the magic happens because I tell the truth. I start to use the language you lot had taught me in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I tell him everything I've just told you so far. I told him how I'm full of shit. I'm not doing the steps. I need to do this. I'm drinking all the time. I said, sir, you've got to let me in the lockdown psychiatric unit. They love me in there, man. Said they got a file on me and everything. Now, the magic happens even though I don't know it because I'm telling the truth. And they decide to arrest me, but they don't take me to jail. And I'll be forever, ever grateful for that. They decide to take me to the local police station. That felt so much safer for me. And now I'm in the back of the squad car, handcuffed, and we're driving down to the police station. They're so enamored with what's going on, they radio ahead and tell their colleagues. They said, hey, we've got this Irishman, and he blew up. I said, I'm English, you moron. They fingerprint me, and they put me in this little cell. I swear to God, everybody that worked in that police station came down to chit-chat with me. 2 or 3 hours later, somebody they know and trust comes and picks me up to take me back to the lockdown psychiatric unit. One more time. So what? I've literally gotten drunk twice on the way home from there. So what? What's going to be different? Well, the difference is, what I know now is I have hit bottom. Now then, hitting bottom for me gets misrepresented in the rooms of AA a lot. Hitting bottom is not your worst story. It's not your worst outside circumstance. Funnily enough, for many of us, our last drink isn't our worst drink. Hitting bottom has become something very precise, and anyone that sponsors people will get it. Hitting bottom is when you ask somebody for help and follow through with all the directions. That's all there is to it. So I'm about to go into the lockdown. Somebody picks me up, takes me to the lockdown site. And I know, well, before I love, it sounds a little depressing, the lockdown site, but I love me some lockdown psychiatry. You know what I mean? You know what's coming my way? A lot of narcotics are coming my way. When you need to be medically detoxed, all thoughts of sobriety go out the window for the minute. You know what I mean? So they take me there, they put you in a semi-private elevator to the 5th floor, they click you in the first door, then you're in no man's land, and you walk to the end, you pick the phone up, and they buzz you in that door, and you're in once again. Lockdown psychiatric unit. And I know the drill in there. I know what you got to do. You got to get as many drugs as is humanly possible from the person behind the little window, right? And I go up there and I'm like, she knows me and I know her. And I go up there and I said, hello, Mary. How are you doing, my love? Did you have a nice Christmas? And she's just shaking her head. It's him again, you know. Mary, I'm going to need my usual cocktail. I would like 18 Valiums, 2 pints of Seroquel, whatever those fucking pink things are up there. I'll have some of that. And surely I have enough rewards points now for the penthouse suite. She's shaking her head. She gives me as many drugs as she's legally allowed to give me. I take all the drugs all at once, and I swear to God, not even 10 minutes later. 10 minutes later, woo, loaded to the gills I am. Loaded to the gills, ready to start judging people again. You know what I mean? 3 hours ago, I wanted to kill myself. I was the biggest loser in the world. Now I'm Lord of the Nut Ward. She takes me belt off me. She takes me laces off me so I don't hang myself in this happy place. Now I know exactly what I need to do. Now that I'm in the nut ward, I know what you lot do. Now I've got to go and find myself a little girlfriend in the lockdown psychiatric unit. Don't you lie to me. I go marching into the day room where everybody hangs out. It's the usual scene, you know. I bang the door so everybody looks my way. There's a girl over here banging her head against the wall. There's a guy over there drooling on himself. And then I see her. Oh, my God, she's gorgeous. She's got this long black hair and it's all in front of her face. She's got these unusually long arms and she's just doing laps around the couch all on her own. She walks around the couch going, "Arr!" Just like that girl out of the movie, the fucking Ring or some shit. And I grab her by the hand and we do laps together till we fall madly in love. They detox me from the alcohol with all the drugs. They detox me from the drugs and they pop me out sober one more time. 13 days later. I've hit bottom and I'm going to prove it. I got out on a Wednesday afternoon and I did not take a drink, which is an absolute miracle. I went to a very powerful men's stag called the Junkyard Dogs. 80 men are outside this meeting hall. Dozens of them are properly armed with the facts about themselves. I went straight up to the first serious guy. I said, Mike, I just got out today. I'm going to drink tonight, man. You know it. I know it. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And he come right up to me and said, holy shit, Darren, are you sober right now? I said, he barely seen me sober that whole year. He said, oh, wow, I've seen you struggling. He said, normally we do some reading. We might go to page 60 in the ABCs. He said, screw it. He said, let's do a third step prayer right now. 80 men there. I said, listen, I don't pray. I definitely don't pray on my knees. I don't believe in God, and I hate religion. I said, what do you mean, Mike, in front of these 80 men? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay. I said, okay, because the no had been beaten out of me. Darren wasn't too cool for school anymore. I was about to conform to the process. We did a third step prayer. We went into that meeting. It was great. Somebody had a grand mal alcoholic seizure in that meeting. And it was disgusting. Disgusting. I've had many grand mal seizures. I've just never fucking seen one. You know what I mean? I went home from that meeting that night and I wrote 100 names on my resentment inventory. 100. I had to double check with him before I left. I said, wait a minute. You want me to write down every mofo that's ever done me wrong? Give me a pen. 100 names. I passed out. I came to at 5 a.m. shaking and baking and I wrote 100 more names. It wasn't even 6 a.m. and I was going to drink. I always drink. I called this man. He answered the phone. He gave me my next column and he saved my life. I called him 12 times that day to finish all 3 inventories. I've heard 500 or 600 fifth steps since then, and not only a couple of them been longer than the one I did. And as I'm calling him, every time I called him, he was playing in a qualifying round of the US Open. And he would stop his shot, go off to the side, give me my direction, and then move on. I can never repay this man. I went to his house the next day and we did my fifth step. Took us 3.5 hours. He's sending me home for my hour of review, and he gave me a big old hug. He said, Darren, this is amazing. I said, I'm glad you feel good, Mike. I feel like shit, dude. He said, oh, don't worry, trust in the process. I went to his house the next day, and we did the 6 and 7 step. I didn't understand step 6 and 7. Nobody understands step 6 and 7. Don't worry about it. I had a lot of humility, a lot of willingness, and I was desperate to move on, and so we did. I went to his house the next day, and we did my 8 step. It was easy. I already had my list. I just had to annoyingly transfer it onto a new list. Then I added to my list. On my 5th and 6th and 7th day of sobriety, I went out around Santa Barbara and made 21 amends all over town. 21 amends, all the customers I'd been an arsehole to, all the women I'd shockingly treated, all the places I'd stolen from, 21 amends, and I was rocketed into a 4th dimension. I was lit up like a Christmas tree. My little English heart filled up so much, I thought it was going to burst. Everything made sense. Everything made sense. This is why Tom's being of service. It must fill his heart. That's why Scott's doing all these services. Why Fred's sponsoring all these people. It must fill their heart. And I understood because I saw and I felt and I believed. Oh my God, this is why my little mum likes to go to church on Sundays. Like, didn't do anything for me, but it must fill her little heart. And then I had an epiphany. Oh my God, wait a minute. This is what you're calling God. And I understood. I understood. I felt so good. I got up the next day and went to Foodland Liquor Store and asked to speak to the manager. I said, sir, I've been a really bad drunk for a very long time. And I have to tell you, I've been coming into your store and stealing vodka almost every day. I said, I am living my life a completely different way. I'll never steal from you or anyone else ever again. I said, I just started work. It's Friday. I started work 2 days ago for the first time in years, and I had $25 on me. I said, sir, there's $25. I'll be back every Friday with $25 until I've paid that whole amount off and any interest you determine. I said, is there anything else I can do to make this right? And he looked right at me and he said, wow. And I looked back at him and said, wow. And I floated off to make some more financial amends. I couldn't believe how good it felt to give you your money back. I said to my sponsor, what's next? He said, oh my God, Darren, this is amazing. He said, steps 10 and 11. I said, 10 and 11, what's that? He said, yeah, I'll show you what to do right here, right now for step 10. To postpone the punishment of alcoholism. Then I'll show you what to do on 11. I'll show you how to sandwich your day with some meditation in the morning. You're already praying your little English ass off. 2 minutes of meditation and 2 minutes to review your day at night. He already knew I was a recovered alcoholic, even if I didn't. And he could see my wheels turning. And he said, oh yeah, Darren, if you do all these things and what I show you next, you can stay sober 1 day at a time for the rest of your life. And I'm like, I am in, dude. I am in. I am sold on the plan out in this book. 2 or 3 years of suicidally depressed to having a full heart with gratitude and feeling love. I am in. And it's not like I enjoy the meditation piece or anything. Just like many of you, I dislike meditation. I'm just glad he gave me the full strength solution. I'm glad he gave me what I now call the guaranteed version of sobriety. If you're new, guaranteed. Now here's how bad I am at meditation, by the way. It's taken me 22 years to go from 2 minutes meditation to 10 minutes meditation. 22 years. But God loves him a little trier. God loves him a little bloody trial, let me tell you. My God's awful. He's got a right potty mouth on him, let me tell you. Remember, this is God, not me. My God is actually up there laughing his bearded ass off at me down there in my bedroom doing my shitty prayer meditation. He is laughing his ass off. He says, look at that little fuck down there. Look at that little English wanker down there doing his shitty prayer meditation. Then he sees me trying and he goes, oh, he says, you know what? He says, you know what? Give that little wanker another day of sobriety. That's how cool my God is. He doesn't care I'm a potty mouth man from Manchester. He cares about my actions. He cares about my helping others, which I do relentlessly. Relentlessly. Steps 10 and 11, they're like the keys to the kingdom. Steps 10 and 11 are so simple, you won't do it. Isn't that the truth? What is wrong with us? Only an alcoholic will burn his life to the ground to then come running to a 12-step program just to resist the 12 steps. There's something wrong with us. But I am in, man. I am in, and I'm sold on the plan outlined in this book. And I have to work a good program. I have chronic alcoholism. Still to this day, alcoholism, I'm sober 22 years, but I have alcoholism quite often. Alcoholism is a highly chronic, fatal, progressive illness, sometimes accompanied by alcohol. I have to do this thing every day to stay straight, to not feed into the negative narrative, because I'm pretty sick. I'm not as sick as Scott right here, but I'm pretty sick, and I'm all right with that, man. I'm all right earning my sobriety. You know, in fact, I sponsor so many men in Santa Barbara. I do so much AA. I should be the Dalai Bloody Lama or some shit. But no, I do all that just to be another bozo on the bus, just to be another worker amongst workers, just so my colleagues at Santa Barbara City College might see me over there, and two of them are talking, go, hey, do you know Darren? Yeah, oh, Darren, yeah, he's all right, him. I do all this work just to get that. But some of us have to work hard at it, you know. But why do we do it? There's got to be a payoff. This has to be better than when I was out there at the top of my game. Not better than the psychiatric unit, better than when I was the leader of my pack in Manchester having a good time. And if it wasn't, I wouldn't do it. This wasn't a sufficient substitute. When you get that full heart moment, or you've entered the world of the spirit, or you see your sponsee, your guy or a gal getting it, and your heart's full, there's nothing better than that. That's why we do it. That's why I want to do a lot of AA, because I want to feel like that most of the time. And I'll leave you with this story. It's a couple of minutes story. And I was speaking, Enter the World of the Spirit. I was speaking at an Akipo convention 10 years ago in the Bay Area. It's a YPOR event. If you've never been to a YPOR event, they are annoying as fuck, man. Yeah. They're annoying and fun, all rolled into one. San Jose, not in the Bay Area, 3,000 of these young maniacs from all over California have taken over this Hilton complex. Crazy. They're having a good time. Many of them are hospitalized because they've overdosed on Red Bull. But don't worry, they put them on a monster drip and they were just fine. Now, I'm the closeout speaker on Sunday, so a lot of these little wankers didn't show up for that, you know what I mean? They're up drinking bangs all night and shagging, you know what I mean? They don't go into the Sunday morning speaker meeting. So at my talk, there's about 500 of them or whatever. And I'm sat on the stage all dolled up, and there's a gal next to me who I've never met. She's from LA, Santa Barbara. We're in the Bay Area. And everyone's looking at us. We've only got a few minutes. Everyone's paying attention and doing... And now she's texting on her phone next to me. And I think that's super rude. It's super rude, but it's got absolutely nothing to do with me. So I get involved right away. What are you doing? What's going on? Now she's texting with her sponsor in LA. Her sponsor's having a real problem. Her sponsor got sober in LA 21 years previously. Her and a guy friend of hers finally went into detox and then went into this sobriety, co-ed sobriety house. 35 people are in this mixed sobriety house. And her and him, it's the usual story, most people obviously relapse, but her and him stay sober for 30 days. Everybody else is relapsed, new people in. Then they stay sober for 60 days. 2 people have died, someone's gone to prison, jail, most people, the usual story. 90 days sober. Now they're old-timers, right? 90 days sober. This guy is doing so well. Matt, he reconnects with his wife and, as planned, moves to Maui, Hawaii. Plugs right into AA. They have a family. They have 2 boys, a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old. He's a great member of AA, but his 2 boys have been on the mainland going to college in mainland America, and they are dying of untreated alcoholism. And he's at his wit's end, and he remembers, oh, my God, that girl from 21 years. And he texts her. He texts her. She sends a couple of texts out to two of her sponsees. One of them sat next to me. And she said, well, I need a male number. I said, here's my phone number. We give our talks. Everything goes great. And the conference is over. And so now I'm getting in the car to go home with my boys. And he'll know this. You know, when you speak out of town, you have to take your tough guys with you. You know what I mean? Just like I brought some tough guys. You got to take your tough guys. You know, the sleeved up guys. Well, you never know what might happen. You might run into some of them any wankers, you know what I mean? And so we're in the car driving home, and I remember to call this man. It's on speakerphone. He answers the phone and says, hey, my name's Darren. I'm coming home from a conference. I was told to call you. And there's just silence on the other end of the phone. Nothing. It's like, this is weird, silent. And then after 30 seconds, we can hear him sobbing. And it's such a moment of humility. He's sobbing, and we all get it. And I want to cry, but I can't because I'm with my tough guys until I look over here. I'm like, wait a minute. Are you fucking crying? Got tattoos on his neck, for God's sake. And then I look in the rearview mirror, and they're crying in the back. I'm like, you've got tattoos on your face, for God's sake. Everybody's crying. And he finally gathers himself. He says, Darren, I can't thank you enough. I've been a really good member of AA. I've never asked God for anything for myself. But my prayer has always been, if my two boys need the hand of AA, please let it be there. I said, I'm in. I'm all in. What's going on? I'm pretty well plugged in many states. He said, they both attend Santa Barbara City College. I said, I work at Santa Barbara City College. We've entered the world of the Spirit. I go back home. I meet both of those two boys. One of them becomes a proud member of the Junkyard Dogs for 10 years, and now he's been living in LA, still sober 10 years later. The other one, on the streets, dying of untreated alcoholism. And isn't that the sum it up for us? The yin and the yang of Alcoholics Anonymous. That's why you need to sponsor people. We need these little soap operas going on in our lives. You know, there's a tragedy over here. There's a beautiful thing, they're getting engaged over here, having a baby, and someone dies, and that's just what happens. So if you're new or not so new and you're struggling with God, I'll leave you with this. Religion might be for those people that are trying to avoid going to hell. But spirituality is for people that have been to hell. Thank you all very much.
Let's thank our speaker one more time. We welcome you to return next week, and we encourage the newcomers to please keep coming back. We have asked a friend to read the keys to the kingdom and lead us out in